Who will win? Classic Doctor Strange or Sung Jin-woo? In a dimension where the lines between reality and nothingness are blurred, Sung Jin-woo stands in a dimensional rift. Cold winds from the void blow through, rustling his jet-black cloak. His eyes are sharp, reflecting the light of millions of shadows swirling around him, the immortal warriors of Shadow Monarch. After 27 years of relentless fighting across dimensions, Jin-woo has become the embodiment of ultimate power. He has defeated the Monarchs, including the mighty Dragon Monarch, who was once considered invincible. With his power, Jin-woo can not only control darkness, but also manipulate space, time, and concepts beyond human imagination. On the other side of reality, in the Sanctum Sanctorum in New York, Dr. Stephen Strange meditates in a magic circle. The light from the ancient runes shimmered in the air, forming a protective net around him. As the Sorcerer Supreme, Strange had faced threats beyond imagination, from Dormammu, the ruler of the Dark Dimension, to cosmic entities like Galactus, to even the Living Tribunal. With the levitation cloak fluttering behind him and the time stone gleaming on his chest, Strange was a symbol of dimensional balance. But today, an unusual surge of energy caused Strange to open his eyes. A dimensional rift appeared within the sanctum, and from it, a figure stepped out. Sung Jin-woo. No greetings, no explanations. Just the presence of two of the most powerful beings from two different universes, facing each other in silence. Who are you? Strange spoke, his voice low but authoritative, his hand ready to cast a spell. Jin-woo smiled slightly, his eyes flashing a dark purple light. I am Shadow Monarch, and I have come to test the limits of this reality. Sung Jin-woo raised his hand, and thousands of shadows rose from the ground, forming an undead army. These shadow warriors were not just physical entities, but also carried the power of those who had fallen before Jin-woo. Each shadow had a story, a soul, a power. He had faced the Absolute, the creator of all universes, and although he could not completely defeat them, Jin-woo had proven that he could stand on par with the supreme beings. You think numbers can deter me? Strange waved his hand, and a brilliant magic circle appeared before him. From the circle, golden rays of light shot out, destroying dozens of shadows in an instant. But Jin-woo was not fazed. He stepped forward, each step shaking the space around him. His speed surpassed that of light, forcing Strange to use the time stone to slow down time, just in time to dodge a strike from Jin-woo's dark sword. Time is not your ally, Jin-woo said, his voice cold as ice. He swung his sword, and a massive blast of dark energy tore through space, creating a rift that led to the world of death, an infinite dimension where all living things were consumed by destruction. But Strange was not to be defeated so easily. He chanted an ancient spell, summoning the Mirror of Agamotto, a dimension that trapped his enemies in an endless loop. Jin-woo, with superhuman reflexes, jumped out of the dimensional rift just before he was pulled into the mirror. The battle between the two had only just begun, but both men realized the man standing before them was no ordinary opponent. Dr. Strange is not only a sorcerer, but also a protector of the multiverse. He once faced Dormammu, the ruler of the Dark Dimension, and forced him to submit. He fought Galactus, a cosmic entity with the power to destroy planets with a single thought. Strange even merged with eternity, the embodiment of time and the collective consciousness of the entire Marvel Omniverse. His power lies not only in magic, but also in his intellect and ability to manipulate the laws of reality. During this battle, Strange realized that Jin-woo was not only physically strong, but also had incredible control over space and energy. He cast a spell from the Book of the Vishanti, creating a magical barrier capable of absorbing any attack. But Jin-woo, with the power of the Shadow Monarch, summoned millions of shadows, each with the power of a warrior he had defeated. The Dark Army attacked relentlessly, forcing Strange to draw upon the Crimson Band of Sidorak, a power that had once put even the Living Tribunal on guard. You are strong, but you are not all, Strange said, his eyes blazing like fire. He raised his hand, and a blast of pure energy shot out, shattering Jin-woo's Dark Army. But Jin-woo did not stop. He used his power to recreate the army, and at the same time created a dimension of his own where he could control all laws. The battle between Sung Jin-woo and Dr. Strange has surpassed all limits. Jin-woo has pulled Strange into a dimension of his own creation, a world of absolute darkness, where light is swallowed up and time seems to stand still. Here, Jin-woo is the Lord. His every move carries the power of destruction. Every thought can reshape reality. His Dark Army is no longer just warriors, but also entities that carry the power of the monarchs he has defeated. From the cold Ice Monarch to the mighty Dragon Monarch. Do you think the darkness can imprison me? Strange shouted, his voice echoing through space. His levitation cloak fluttered, allowing him to glide through Jin-woo's attacks with incredible speed. He raised his hand, chanting a spell from the Book of the Vishanti, summoning the light of Agamotto, a pure energy that can pierce all darkness. The light flared, tearing apart Jin-woo's darkness, revealing the calm yet determined face of the Shadow Monarch. Jin-woo did not flinch. He raised his dark sword, now enhanced by the power of the world of death. His slash tore through space, creating a rift that led to another dimension, where ancient entities once sealed away by the Absolute were about to awaken. "If you would test me, sorcerer, face the wrath of the Forgotten," Jin-woo roared, and from the rift, colossal figures began to rise. Strange recognized the danger. These entities were no ordinary foes. They wielded the power of ancient dimensions, where even entities like Dormammu had to fear them. He quickly cast a protective spell, summoning the Crimson Band of Sidorak to create an impenetrable shield. But Jin-woo, with speeds beyond light, charged forward, his sword slashing straight at the shield, creating an energy blast that shook the entire dimension. "You are fast, but not fast enough," Strange said, his eyes flashing the blue light of the Time Stone. He manipulated the flow of time, slowing Jin-woo's every movement. But Jin-woo, with the power of the Shadow Monarch, had learned to overcome the limitations of time over 27 years of fighting. He broke Strange's time loop with a strike of pure darkness, forcing the Sorcerer Supreme to retreat. The battle has now reached an unimaginable level. The space around the two men is shattered into pieces, revealing multiversal voids where realities collide and disintegrate. Jin-woo, with the full power of Shadow Monarch, summons a storm of darkness capable of consuming the universe. Each shadow is a part of him, carrying the memories and power of those who have fallen. He is no longer a man, but the embodiment of destruction and rebirth. But Doctor Strange is not one to be cowed. He has faced beings like Galactus, Dormammu, and even the pre-retcon Beyonder beings, whose power transcends all concepts of the universe. In a moment of crisis, Strange makes a bold decision: merge with eternity, the embodiment of time and the collective consciousness of the entire Marvel Omniverse. As he raised his hand, his body radiated infinite light, merging with every reality, every being, every moment in the multiverse. "You are strong, Shadow Monarch, but you cannot resist the will of all reality," Strange said, his voice no longer that of a man, but that of a being beyond all concepts. The power of eternity flowed through him, allowing him to manipulate not only space and time, but the very laws of existence itself. Jin-woo, faced with this terrible power, did not falter. He summoned the entire army of shadows, now enhanced by the power of the world of death. Billions of shadows merged into one gigantic entity, a shadow monster whose size and power surpassed all universes. "If you are reality, then I am the darkness that devours reality," Jin-woo declared, and the dark monster charged forward, colliding with the light of eternity in an explosion that shattered the entire multiverse. Jin-woo, despite possessing the power of the Shadow Monarch, still has the heart of a man who has fought tirelessly to protect those he loves. In 27 years of fighting across dimensions, he has learned to face fear, despair, and even death. His will is indomitable, a fire that never goes out. But Doctor Strange is no ordinary man. Before becoming the Sorcerer Supreme, he was a talented surgeon, a man who overcame his arrogance and suffering to become the protector of the multiverse. Strange's will has been tempered through hundreds of battles with entities beyond human imagination. He understands that to defeat Jin-woo, he needs not only power, but also wisdom. Strange uses an ancient spell from the Book of the Vishanti, creating a multiverse illusion where Jin-woo is trapped in thousands of different realities. In each reality, he faced versions of himself that had failed, given up, or been consumed by darkness. "You can defeat your enemies, but can you defeat yourself?" Strange asked, his voice echoing across realities. Jin-woo, with an iron will, shattered each illusion. Each time he shattered a reality, he drew closer to Strange. "I have faced the darkness within myself," Jin-woo said. "You cannot imprison me with your tricks." The battle culminated as both unleashed their most powerful attacks. Jin-woo, now the embodiment of absolute darkness, created a dimension where all laws were broken. Here, he was the supreme overlord, able to reshape reality at will. He summoned the power of the Absolute, the creator of all universes, and used it to attack Strange. A massive blast of dark energy shot out, capable of erasing the multiverse. His dark sword burned with the power of billions of souls, each strike a declaration of war against reality itself. Doctor Strange, still in a state of fusion with eternity, stood firm against the storm of darkness. Infinite light radiated from his body, like a beacon in the endless night. He raised his hand, and a giant magic circle appeared, absorbing all of Jin-woo's energy. "You are strong, Shadow Monarch, but your power is limited by the laws I can shape," Strange said, his voice echoing like the voice of the universe itself. Strange chanted a spell from the Book of the Vishanti, summoning the power of the Living Tribunal, the the most powerful being in all creation, whose authority transcends eternity, infinity, and death. A blast of pure, immeasurable energy exploded from his hands, directly clashing with Jin-woo's storm of darkness. The space around him shattered, dimensions collapsed, and only the two of them stood in the void. Jin-woo, with his indomitable will, launched his final attack. He united the entire army of darkness into a single entity, a colossal shadow monster, imbued with the power of every monarch he had ever defeated. The monster roared, charging at Strange at speeds beyond light, wielding the power to destroy the multiverse. But Strange, with the power of the living tribunal, needed only a wave of his hand to shatter the monster, turning it into fragments of darkness that dissipated into nothingness. "You are a great warrior, Sung Jin-woo," Strange said, his voice low but respectful. "But in this battle, you cannot overcome the will of the multiverse." When the dark storm cleared, Jin-woo stood there, breathing heavily, the dark sword in his hand still gleaming but losing much of its power. He had pushed himself to the limit, drawing on every power of the Shadow Monarch, from the world of death to the power of the Absolute. But before him, Dr. Strange stood firm, the light of eternity and the living tribunal surrounding him like an impenetrable aura. Strange raised his hand, and a final magic circle appeared, larger than anything Jin-woo had ever seen. It was the door to eternity, a dimension where time, space, and all laws no longer mattered. "This is not the end of you, Shadow Monarch," Strange said, "but this is where I must seal you, to protect the balance of the multiverse." Jin-woo, exhausted, smiled. "You are stronger than I thought, sorcerer, but I do not regret testing you." With a final effort, he swung his sword, unleashing an attack that carried all his will. But Strange, with the power of the living tribunal, needed only a thought to counter the attack, and the doors of eternity opened, pulling Jin-woo inside. As the door closed, the space around him returned to silence. Dr. Strange stood alone in the void, the levitation cloak gently fluttering in the wind. He sighed, not out of fatigue, but out of respect for his fallen opponent. Sung Jin-woo was a great warrior, a shadow monarch with power enough to challenge even the gods. But Dr. Strange, with his ability to merge with eternity, manipulate the laws of reality, and summon the power of the living tribunal, proved that he stood at the pinnacle of the multiverse. The Sanctum Sanctorum appeared before Strange as he stepped through a dimensional portal. He returns to his role as protector of reality, the one who keeps the balance between dimensions. The battle with Jin-woo is a great challenge, but it also reminds Strange of his responsibility. In the multiverse, there is no room for arrogance, only determination and wisdom.